Hey guys, if you struggle with tilting, giving up, pessimism, or any other aspect of a negative or weak mentality in Valorant, you will greatly benefit from my new mentality course on Patreon. You can find that link in the top description below. I cover all of those topics of mentality and much more. It's about a 2-hour video. Enjoy this video and see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, so today I'm going to be giving you some tips to help you get out of silver to basically any rank. So I think the vast majority of players in Valorant are actually in silver, which is a little crazy to me just because I think I think there's a mixed bag in silver. I think some people are actually good mechanically. I think most people that are good mechanically suffer in other ways quite severely. And I think there are also some people in silver that are not great mechanically, but also are good in other areas, like for comms or positioning or something like that. But overall, you guys only really excel in like one area, right? So, my first tip for you guys is to really focus on yourself. Whenever you're in silver and whenever you're not noticing improvement, it's very easy and natural to want to blame other people. But this is the exact opposite of what you should really be doing. Focusing on yourself within Valorant and within life is the #1 thing you can do. You find happiness from within and from no one else. You find growth from within and from no one else. So there's no reason to blame other people. It's not going to get you anywhere. In fact, it's actually going to get you the opposite outcome that you want, right? So if you're blaming someone else, you're hoping that they're going to be like, and like in the back of your mind, you're like hoping that they're going to be like, oh, you're right, I'm so bad and I'm so wrong. But in reality, you're just going to stir up conflict and you're going to make people upset within your game, within your team, and you're going to make their performance probably even worse. You're going to make everyone's focus on like arguing and like just being angry, right? And that's not what you want. So if someone's doing something like really bad, then you can try to call them out in a sort of objective and respectful way and be like, yo, can we do this instead, guys, instead of this? Or yo, let's go here, guys, and just kind of deflect or kind of refocus what the people are doing on your team that you think is really bad. But at the end of the day, you can't control them. So if you know they're doing something like running it down the same place every round, don't let it affect you, okay? Focus on yourself. Listen to me. If I went to silver right now, I could carry myself out of silver, and I haven't played this game in months, okay? I could carry myself out of silver like that. I don't have to try, okay? I know I'm gonna have some games where it's kind of annoying and a little bit tilting because again, some people in silver are actually somewhat mechanically good, and you're just gonna get one tap sometimes, but if you're to focus only on yourself and improving only yourself, that's going to make it significantly easier to rank up, okay? So that's my first tip. This ties in all sorts of areas to your mentality and how you simply approach the game. If your mental approach to the game is bad and you're focusing on the wrong things, you're not going to improve very quickly, if at all, right? So really make sure that you're looking at the right things that are necessary in order for you to improve. So see you guys in the next tip. All right, guys, so the next tip is to, 1, be consistent, but also 2, make sure that you're picking an agent pool that is realistic, okay? So I coach people. I've coached many people in the past, and what happens is I ask them their agent pool, and they tell me, oh, I play everyone. I like to fill. Oh, I play duelist controllers and sentinels. Oh, I play all the duelists and Sage and Sky and Sova and Viper and No, you don't, okay? You might think you play them, but you don't really play them great, okay? No offense, you're in silver, okay? Even people in Immortal, when they tell me, oh, I play every character, I tell them the same thing. You cannot play every single character. Pro players do not play every single character. There's only a select few number of pro players that can play every single character and be extremely good at it, okay? You're not a pro player, you're a silver player. Let's be real, okay? Look, I'm playing chess. I'm complete garbage at chess. Okay, I'm like a silver player in chess right now, and so I have to have a reality check with myself, right? I have to be like, okay, I suck at chess. I'm not gonna pretend for 1 second that I can do every single opening in chess because I can't, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So if you're playing this game, I'm gonna go ahead and assume, since I'm a duelist, that most of you guys are probably duelists because you like watching other people that play the same characters as you. I play Jet Reyna. This is my main agent pool. I will occasionally play Raze. And that's really about it. I mean, I started off on a different role. I started off with Initiator. I started off with Sentinel. So what I'm telling you guys is pick 2 to 3 agents within this within your role, whatever role you want. So if you want to play duelist, pick whatever duelist you like. Also understand that some duelists have more overlap with some than others. So Jet and Reyna obviously have a lot of overlap just because their abilities are quite similar. And then you might also throw in Chamber to this mix because again, there's quite a lot of overlap in just how their abilities work. For if you're gonna play like Initiator, you might go like Sova, Fade, Sky, because they all have drones, right? They all have sort of like this drone that you can use, and that's like your overlap for all of these characters. And then again, if you want to play Sentinel, you could go like Killjoy, Cypher, Chamber, I don't know, something like that. Basically, have one character that you really like to main most, like that you want to lock most, and then have a second character that you basically like to play just as much, but it's more of kind of like a backup pick. So for me, I'll either main Reyna and then have a backup pick Jett, or I'll play Jett and have a backup pick of Reyna. It just kind of depends on like what I'm feeling that day or that week or whatever. And it just kind of depends on what I want to do, like what I really want to play, right? But other than that, this tip, guys, try to just be more consistent. So not just with what characters you're picking, but also with how you play, also with how you, like how often you play, with your warm-up routine, with how you aim train. Like don't slack, like be consistent. Make sure you're consistently doing what you need to be doing in order to improve. And if you don't know what that is, do some research. Consistently do research, watch my videos, you know, get some coaching from me, figure out what you need to be doing in order to get better. Because you're silver, but you could easily be like plat, right? I didn't title this video silver to any rank for no reason. Like you can go from silver to radiant in a matter of months. It's not like crazy for that to happen, to be honest. That's not very common, right? But it's not impossible for that to happen, and that's definitely happened before. There's like these YouTube videos you see, like how I went from silver to immortal in 3 weeks or something like that, right? Like that can be you. You can make in that video. You can look back and be like, wow, I was stuck in silver for so long until I watched Duckeeh's video. But otherwise, be consistent. Be consistent with how you approach attacking, with where you defend, with your comms. Like don't just calm one game because you're winning, and then whenever you start losing, then not calm. Like be consistent. Consistency is really key in all sorts of domains whenever it comes to improvement in this game. So you know, also with your abilities, you know, it's endless really how I can apply consistency. So be consistent with deathmatch, be consistent with however you aim train, yada yada yada, right? So hopefully this tip makes sense. Remember, guys, pick just 2 to 3 agents in your role, and pick just one role, okay? For now, you want to pick one role. If you want to swap roles entirely later, that's completely fine. But start off with that because it's really gonna help you get good at just a couple of things rather than be just okay at a lot of things. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next tip. Okay, guys, so the next tip is make sure that you're buying like somewhat properly and also buying abilities and using abilities, okay? So this is actually rather big in this rank and in ranks below this, and also even in gold and maybe even plat, because people just don't really understand like the concept of buying as a team. And I'm not saying, honestly, that buying as a team is fully possible in some of these ranks, because your teammates are going to buy how they want a lot of the time, but that doesn't mean that you can try your best to at least buy with like the majority of your teammates and then just accept that the rest of your teammates aren't going to be buying as they should be or as you'd like them to. Now, so what this means is you can full buy with the majority of your team. So if like 2 other teammates are buying and 2 of your teammates are like full saving, then you kind of just have to choose, right? But you choose and you buy on that rhythm consistently, right? Back to consistency, right? But if you're choosing to save, you have to know what weapons you excel with during a save, right? So are you good with the sheriff? Do you want to pick up the sheriff because you have good aim? Would you rather, you know, are you more of a shorty person? Are you more of a stinger person, dare I say? Are you more of a marshal person? Do you like the Buckeeh? Do you have enough money to buy like a bulldog or a judge? Should you buy light armor or no armor? You know, should you buy some abilities or what, right? So again, if you're aim training and you're only practicing using the Vandal, that's not really going to help you for these rounds, right? And if you think about it, not every round is a buy round. You have at least 2 pistol rounds guaranteed in a match, right? So unless your team forfeits before the second one, and you're not always going to have enough to buy a full rifle. If you're always buying a rifle and you don't have armor sometimes, then you're making a mistake, okay? So what you need to be doing instead is whenever your team does not have enough money and you're choosing not to buy as a team, you want to... The sheriff is really going to be like the best option, but I understand that this is not an easy weapon to use for a lot of you guys, but I would highly recommend practicing with this. If you don't want to use this, the shorty is really good as well. And then, like I said, all these options are good. Marshal is Spectre, Judge, and then if you have a little extra money than more than your team, you can buy like a Bulldog or Guardian, or an Ares even is really good. I really like the shorty though. Shorty and Sheriff are my favorites. So, and these also cost the least, if you notice. This is only 800, this is 150. 150 for the shorty is absolutely insane. So understand that, but also, guys, I wanted to bring up like abilities. So whenever you have abilities, you should be using them, right? And if you never buy a certain ability, or if you just never use a certain ability, you have to become consciously aware of this so that you can actually start to fix it. Because abilities are in the game for a reason. Your abilities can be extremely useful. Let's say as Reyna, you like never use a flash, right? And so you throw a flash. You never throw a flash because you're, for whatever reason, right? But you need to, one, become aware of this, and this is your sign. You watching this video is a sign that you need to become aware of which abilities you could either be using like at all or using better, making more optimal use of. So this is a very common thing that I notice in these ranks, is that people don't use their abilities to the best of their ability, and they don't really realize it a lot of the time. So also with like a dismiss, make sure you're like, ask yourself, did I really need to use that dismiss? Did I really need to use that heal? Could I have dismissed better there? Could I have dismissed to somewhere else? Could I have just saved the dismiss, right? Should I ult? Should I not ult? Stuff like that, right? And obviously you don't have to buy your ult, but that is something to keep in mind. What else? But yeah, basically that's it. That's gonna sum this section up. Make sure you're buying as much with your team as you can, and make sure you're maximizing the potential that you have with your abilities. And yeah, guys, so I'll see you in the next tip. I guess so the next tip that I have for you, silver players, in order to improve more rapidly, is to understand the value of being unpredictable when you attack and defend. So this is something that's not really talked about too often, to be honest, but I realized how important this was whenever I was probably in like Immortal. So this can really, really, really help you if you're silver, or honestly any rank, if you haven't realized this yet. Basically, if you're always attacking the same way or the same place, or you're always defending the same area from the same spots, then you're really missing out on a lot of opportunities, right? Because if you're missing 100% of the shots that you don't take, and if you're simply just not attacking from certain areas, say on Ascent, I know that people rarely ever walk up mid for like taking fights on attack. People rarely ever walk up mid or Ascent on Cat, just for a kill and just for looking for opportunities, right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about for opportunities. People rarely do that, and you probably, if you're silver, do not do that either. Unless you do, then very good to you. But the point is, even on defense, whenever you're defending, if you always defend one site, especially as a duelist, but really as any character, even as a sentinel, if you're always defending just one site, you're like, oh, this is my site, and then you have like your 2 or 3 ways that you defend it, and you defend it from like, you defend it from this spot, this spot, and this spot, and you only ever do that. You never think outside the box. You never think, where else could I defend? What else could I have done? What else could I have done better? Then, you're not being unpredictable. The enemies are going to be like, oh yeah, this, Reyna plays here because she's done that the whole game. Or, yeah, Reyna doesn't play this site, so let's just push here, right? So even if you're doing good, they can just purposely avoid you. And if you're hard carrying, you have 30 kills, and you're only playing one site, or you're only pushing one area, it's very easy for the enemies to just avoid you. So if you're defending and you have 30 kills, and instead you choose, okay, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go here, and you make your defense or your attacks based off of how the previous rounds have gone. So say you full hold B on whatever map, and then then you have to think after that round, like, okay, they're probably gonna go A, so I'm gonna go A because I'm a duelist and I want to stop them. I want to go where the action is, and I want to be there so that I can carry, right? If I just stay B because I just won B, what are you doing, right? Are you really thinking about where the enemy's going, or are you just autopiloting, right? So at what point are you autopiloting, and at what point are you actually making decisions about where you're going and why you're going there? This applies to attack as well. Now, obviously, you do want to be attacking with teammates, but this is what comms are for. Like, guys, I'm gonna lurk up cat, or I'm gonna lurk up mid, or yo, let's go here, guys, so that I can do this, or so that I can do that. And this is gonna allow you to be unpredictable. This is an extremely important aspect of the game that I feel like nobody really talks about, honestly. Like, I feel like we might have an intuition that is good to be unpredictable, but I feel like a lot of us, especially duelists, don't really have the guts to just like swap it up very quickly. For me, I do it in an instant. Like every round it almost feels like every round I'm playing somewhere different. And then in a lot of matches, you're gonna find like a groove of like what feels best or what works best. And that's really nice, right? It's like once you find 2 spots that work really well, maybe you try 4 different spots on defense, 2 of them worked really well, the other 2 maybe not so much, and you continue playing those 2, and they keep coming to you for whatever reason, and then you can keep farming them in those spots. Whereas if you never played those 2 spots, you only played the 2 that didn't work, you'd be like, wow, I suck at this game, I'm gonna be hard stuck silver, my teammates suck, or whatever excuses you make in silver, right? Don't make excuses. It goes back to point 1. Only focus on yourself, right? And yeah, guys, I'll see you in the last tip. All right, guys, so last tip is going to be somewhat obvious, I feel like, but again, it seems obvious on the surface, but are you really actually doing this? Probably not. You're probably not doing this. So this tip for me is going to be focus on what your weaknesses are. Figure out what your weaknesses are. If you don't know what at least what your main weaknesses are, then what are you trying to improve? Are you just playing just to play, or do you think you're going to turn into a Radiant player overnight? Because it's not going to happen, okay? You know, it's like for anything that you want to get better at, it's not gonna come like automatically. You need to put effort in, and if you don't know what to put effort toward, then you're not going to like naturally just automatically improve. You might actually naturally improve, right? You might actually mechanically naturally over time improve, but you can improve much more rapidly if you know what you need to improve on. And so for most of you, that might be just raw mechanics, or you know, like I said, there are some silver players with somewhat good mechanics. I'm not going to say to all of you that you all have great mechanics, because I don't know all of you. I don't know how all of you play. Some of you definitely probably do, but I'm not going to assume that you do. So let's say that you could work on mechanics. Again, I don't know each of you personally, so make sure you look inward and figure out what do I really struggle with. Be honest with yourself. Don't be ashamed that you have weaknesses. Everyone has weaknesses. Everyone needs to improve upon those weaknesses, both in Valorant and in life. And so you must be honest with yourself and tell yourself that this is what I need to improve. And then, you know, this can also be, so if it is mechanic related, you can do a lot of that improvement or work in deathmatch or in aim lab or in the range. And other than that, you know, there's all kinds of weaknesses you might have. You might be prone to get extra angry at your teammates more so than a lot of people. You might just tilt too much, right? And that's something you might need to work on. You might realize after this video that, okay, I need to actually use my abilities more, or okay, I need to use comms more, or something like that. There's all sorts of weaknesses, but really ask yourself each game, each round, like, what could I have done better? What could I have done better? And after a while, you're going to notice some common like trends that actually show you the overarching image of what your weaknesses are. Because like right now, you might actually not know. You might genuinely not know what is your biggest weakness or weaknesses. At silver, there's going to be more than just one major weakness, okay? I can promise you that. In iron, there's many. In bronze, there's many. In silver, there's many. You have many weaknesses that you can improve upon. I know it feels like, oh, I'm silver, I'm a badass. You're not, okay? You're not a great player. You're an okay player, okay? And that's honestly being generous, okay? No offense, right? If you're in silver, you have a lot of work to do. So this is your sign. Focus on your improvements or on your weaknesses. You know, get some improvements. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.